Before we get into the specifics of layering marches, let's go over some basics of troop types and the overall concept of layering. Every game of this type has its own unique combat system, and each have individual quirks that can improve your success in battle. There are variations of troop types that work well together, ways to counter specific builds, and formational strategies. Troop layering falls into the category of formational strategy. In War and Order, at a very simple level, there are two characterizations of units. There are frontline units and there are backline units. Frontline units are the wall that protect your more vulnerable backline units as they dish out the damage. It's important to find a balance between frontline and backline units, and we will talk about this balance in a future video. This video is about a related concept, the concept of layering. Layering in War and Order is different than some other games out there and in many ways not as crucial. However, it requires almost no effort and it could be the difference between a win or a loss, and it will lead to an overall reduction in troop loss. The main idea of layering is to make sure that your units, especially the front line, stay alive as long as possible. If you can delay the opponent for even a second by getting them to attack an additional layer, you are effectively doing more damage to the enemy and preventing damage to your own troops. Let's get into how layering works in War and Order. There are two races of troops for each troop type. For example, with ground units, the races alternate between Orc and Human. On the battlefield, the same race of troops will stack together. A Tier 6 Elite Orc Warrior and a Tier 8 Orc Knight stand and die together as one stack of units on the battlefield. However, the Tier 7 Elite Swordsman will be in a separate stack because it is of a different race. So in practice, you only need to make sure that to layer properly in War and Order, you include each race and each troop type. The composition and numbers of those troops don't matter as much as that they actually exist. This video isn't focused on what troop compositions work best or ideal presets for marches, so I won't get into that. However, it does help to look at an example. Generally, players in the earlier stages favor infantry as frontline and mages as backline. It's pretty reasonable given the raw power of mages and the beefiness of infantry. Players might make archers as well as a backline supplement, but cavalry in the front line are not commonly used until later in the game. When setting up your march presets, you want to be sure that you are not neglecting the other troop types, as their sacrifice will make a difference when it comes to battles. This does not mean you should add a whole lot of cavalry or archers as a layer. You really only need a single unit of each to create the stack as a sacrifice. Layering helps in PvP, but it really shines the most against monsters and bosses since there are fewer sources of attacks to cut through your layers. Let's test against a Star Source Mine boss to show it in action. First, let's do an attack against Mutant Giant level 5 with infantry, some angels, archers, and mages. I'm intentionally leaving out two layers here, which are the two cavalry races. With this march, we are able to get the giant down to 55%. In this next attack, we will do exactly the same march with one exception. I'm going to take out two of my lower tier mages to make room for a single tier 8 cavalry unit and a single tier 7 cavalry unit. By ensuring I have every single race in the battle for every troop type, I am able to delay the boss by forcing it to spend time attacking a stack of only one unit twice. These are attacks that would have otherwise have landed on stacks of more effective units. Two solitary sacrificial ponies allowed this boss to drop an additional 7%. Hopefully this has helped to emulate the importance of having all 9 layers of troops in your battles. See you in the next video.
Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. If you liked what you saw, please consider hitting the like button and checking out other videos on the Miser's Guide to Ebony. I'll see you in the next video.